everybody, Miss Leslie here from Salinas Public Library, and I am here today because it's time for our newest Preschool Kit to Go. This is a program that we've started a few months ago, and every month on the second Wednesday of the month, we have a kit available for pickup from either El Gavilan Library or Cesar Chavez Library. Inside the kit, you will find some papers and some stuff for some fun learning activities that you can do with your preschool age children, 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. So let's find out what we have this month.
You should have a pack of 6 papers with English on one side and Spanish on the other, a small can of PlayDoh, a few small plastic cups, 2 pipettes, very similar to the ones we had last time. You will find 2 or 3 pipe cleaners, color doesn't matter. You will find a number of plastic letters. Most kits should have about 25 to 28. They are random. You do not have a full alphabet set, but you have at least 25 letters there. And then you will have 12 colored foam blocks to do some building with. And there is one other thing that you will have in your kit that I don't have here with me, and that is a small baggie with some small colored tablets. They are called Color My Tub, and they are color tinting tablets. So we will be using those for one of our experiments. All right, let's take a look at our first activity. It is a science experiment. We are going to find out what happens when we mix these colors. Your little one can read the instructions here that we're going to need to have red and yellow, and they are going to report back on what happens when those are combined. So take some of your small cups. You're going to need 3 cups filled with our colors. We'll do one with red, one with yellow, and one with blue. Now you have the small tablets. Those are called Color My Tub tints. They are completely child safe and they will not stain. I did not have those at home, so I've had to use food coloring. Mine will not look as good as yours. I have done this experiment many times using those tub tablets and they work great. So my demonstration may not work quite the same, but you'll get the idea. So have your child take another empty container and get your little pipettes ready. We are going to do the color mixing in the empty one. So you can look at this and point to it. What color do we need to start with? And then we're going to start with the red. So we're going to use the pipette just as we did previously. I like to remind kids with a little, almost a chant. So you want to squeeze, dip, let go, and up. And then you could add that into your our little tester right here. So squeeze that in. Now I have a smaller pipette than what you will have, so it's going to take a few more squirts for me to get the colors in there. But again, just reiterate that little chant. Squeeze, dip, let go, out. All right, so for this first one, you're going to have them combined red and yellow. Mine is not going to look right because of the food coloring that I use, but the idea is the same. Squeeze, dip, let go, and move. So you're going to have them put about an equal amount as to what they put of the first color. Put them all in there and then stir it up and see what color you got. Now, using a crayon or a colored pencil or whatever you have, they're going to write their answer in the next one. So that would simply mean coloring with an orange crayon. And then you could dump out the one that you tested and try the other color combinations, having them report what their color achieved was. Now, the tub tints that you should have 6, 2 of each color. They will make like a huge container of water. So if you have a large jug, you could do a solid red, a very large amount of the red, a very large amount of the yellow, a large amount of the blue, and then pour it into the bathtub or have some fun at the sink with it when this experiment is done. Kids love to mix things up, and that is a great science activity and science skill. They're conducting an experiment and seeing what will happen, making their observation. Using the same colored water and the same technique that we did just a few moments ago, they can do their own experiment. On the previous sheet, they had a recipe of sorts, what colors to mix together. But here they can decide what they want to do themselves. Maybe they want to mix the colors that are here, or maybe they want to use the orange that they created in the previous activity, or the purple. What will happen? Let them play around and experiment, but tell them it's important to write down what they discover, to write down what they're going to be doing and finding out. And again, for us, writing down is really just coloring in the cup. Another good tip for doing this activity, it's good to have a little bin to pour all your experiments into when they're finished, just so that you don't always have it to be running back and forth to a sink. So have fun with the color mixing. All right, the theme this month is colors, so it's a perfect time to talk about all the colors in the rainbow, use words that we maybe don't use as frequently to describe colors. So instead of just red, maybe talk about the words ruby or scarlet, or instead of yellow, sunshine, or instead of green, hunter green, instead of blue, aqua. So really expand the vocabulary, talking about all the colors. You can even talk about shades and tints of colors. If you have any paint sample strips that have all the different shades, those are great things to look at for color and to use for some crafting too. But for our purposes with this sheet, we're just going to do some color sorting. Now, you could use these blocks to color sort. They will actually fit perfectly into these squares. However, you only have 12 of them and you have 2 of each color, so it would end up just being 6 little columns of 2. So maybe not the best way to do it. You do have your little letters here though. I've just put mine in a container to keep them from spilling all over the counter, but this is something that can be used to do color sorting. Now, in here you're going to have more colors than the 6 standard rainbow colors, so they could make a pile over to the side for purple ones, or a pile over to the side for pink or white or black or brown. But the rest of these can go in their proper way. So what color is this? It's red, and then we can talk about the letter too. It's an E. So we're going to put it down at the bottom and work our way up. We had an activity in a previous month that was graphing, using these visual bar graphs to count. So, whoops, I thought that was an A. It's a V. It's upside down then. So just go ahead and stack whatever you have there, and then you could talk about which color do you have the most of, which color do you have the least of, which color is your favorite color, which color has the letter O. So lots of things to do here. Another thing to talk about is that when we have a tower or a column, that we need to count from the bottom, and you'll see that's how this graph is numbered. We have to count from down here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we count from the top, then we won't necessarily get the right number when we take it away. So if you're building a tower, you talk about that you don't count from the top of the tower, but from the bottom, 1, 2, 3. Same thing here, we're going to count from the bottom, 1, 2, 3. Then you can get into some simple adding and subtracting. We have 3, what happens if we take away 1? And then you have 2. Or you could do an addition. You can say, you have 1 red letter. I'm going to give you 2 more red letters. How many red letters will you have now? And then in they go. And count them, 1, 2, 3. You can use the rainbow colors and go on an item hunt or a scavenger hunt in your own house. Pick up a few of your child's toys or books or things around the house and sort them into the colors. Maybe you want to set a paper down for each color. You could turn these papers upside down and color one red, color one orange, and then you could use those to sort the items. And then you could go back to the graph and talk about which one you have more or less of too. With this activity, you are going to use those colored letters again. And what you're going to do is, before you give this one to your little one, go ahead and look at the letters that you have in your bin and have the grown-up write a letter in each of these squares. Now make sure that they are letters that you actually have in the bin. That way you'll be able to place them. Once you have all those letters written out, You can shake these up, or maybe you can hide them somewhere, or give clues to it is underneath the chair. And then maybe your child will go hunt for them. But however you get them, once you have the letters, you're going to ask your child to match it to what you've already written down. So if you already had a W, you would have to find where it is and put it on that spot. They don't have to be in alphabetical order. They can be however you want to put them. You can put your child's name across the bottom or top in those squares and see if you have all the letters of the name. If your child already knows how to recognize the uppercase letters, instead of writing the uppercase letter in these squares, go ahead and write the lowercase, and then when they pull out a letter, say they pull out this D, they can identify it as the letter D, but they will have to search here to see where you've written the lowercase d. So that's a good way to do matching of upper and lowercase. And another way to do this is to match or talk about the sound of the letter as you pull it out. So if you pull out a letter J, 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 and then see if you can think of any words that start with that sound. J, J, jar, J, J, jam, J, J, jump. J, J, just have fun playing with it. Here's another way to have fun with these letters and to have fun with Play-Doh. Go ahead and open up that canister of Play-Doh. Oh, easier said than done. Oh, sorry about that. And of course, playing with Play-Doh is a great way to build hand strength. You want to squish it, you want to push it, you want to pull it, you want to stretch it, all sorts of great action words there. And you can roll it out. You can use the canister to roll it out. You can use the canister to cut out a shape. You can use the top to cut out a shape. All sorts of fun with that. You can also, if we're talking about letters, we can roll it out into a snake and form it into a letter. So we'll do, there's a T, 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 T. Or you could do the same thing with letters of the alphabet. You can also use Play-Doh for doing some math here. So let's count which spot has 2 pieces of Play-Doh. Oh, sorry, I've got my camera in the wrong place. And then have them point to that one. That works with recognizing the number without having to cut them. Without having to count them. Cutting is a good thing to do with Play-Doh, though. You can use scissors and just cut it up, but it's a great, easy way to practice. You're not wasting paper. Plus, it is definitely easier to cut the Play-Doh than it is a paper. So let's see what we can do with these letters in the Play-Doh. You can stick the letters in to spell a word or just to put some letters in for fun. And I've got love here. So it's a fun activity just to put them in. It's a good hand strengthening activity to have to pull these out of the Play-Doh. It takes a little bit of work to wiggle and jiggle them out. So that's a good pinch or grasp exercise. And plus, once you take them out, you have the imprint. With the imprint, you could trace the letters with your fingers and get a feel for those. You can also stamp the letters in first and then throw all your letters back in, and then you have to search through to find the matching one, and that makes it like a puzzle because now you have to get it back into the exact spots that they were before. Of course, I threw my letters in, so it's going to take me a bit, but there you go. So that's a letter activity, it's a puzzle, it's a sound-making activity, all sorts of fun stuff. You can use your pipe cleaner. Oh, that one doesn't show up very well against my counter. Let's try this one. You can use a pipe cleaner and you can string the letters on. Now the pipe cleaner is much easier to do this with than string because it's got a bit more structure to it. But you can take the letters, all of these letters will have 1 or 2 holes, and go ahead and string them through. And again, say the letter as you're doing it, H, and say the sound, huh, huh, huh. Now, if you put a few letters on here, we can do a pre-reading activity or pre-reading practice, I guess. So I've got, let me move these so you could see it in the camera. I've got the H and the OP. Now you want to make the sounds of these. H and then OP together makes up. H, up. Let's move them closer together. H, up, hop. Let's put them all the way together. Hop. Uh-oh, let's separate them. Ha, p. But if we put the P back, hop. So it's just bringing this, showing that we're talking about two distinct sounds, two discrete sounds, and then giving that visual of putting those together to make the word. So again, you can just play with these of stringing them on because that is a great activity for the fine motor development. You can also work on doing some patterning with the colors. So maybe you want to do yellow, green, yellow, green, yellow, and of course you will be limited by what colors that you have, but go ahead and make up some more activities for yourselves. Next, we have some block building. These blocks are lots of fun. They're nice and soft, so when they fall down, they won't hurt anything. They won't make too much noise. I bet they would even float in a bathtub. So if you want to do a little experiment in the bath or in the sink, you can find out if these sink or float. You can find out if the letters sink or float. You can find out if the Play-Doh sinks or float. Oh, and even the pipettes or anything else that you have. There's always something to be done that you could consider an experiment. Let's go back to this though. I got distracted. You can use these blocks to recreate what you see on this paper. Now, go ahead and cut these out. So get some scissor practice. These are fairly difficult, but you can make up your own puzzles too. So basically what we want your little one to do is build a structure that will look exactly like the one on the paper. So if we just look at this first one here, talk it through and say, well, what block starts it? And so you'll have to identify it, purple, match it, and then place it. What comes next? And then the orange. So you're just going to continue like that, talking your way through it and helping them to create something that looks the same as on the paper. Now, that one was the simple one. They do get more complex when you're needing to build up as well as out, and then some that are using the foreground and the background so that you can use more prepositional words in front of, behind, next to, under. So go ahead and try these ones. They're kind of, if they get too crazy difficult, make up your own. This is a super easy thing to do. Just build a tower yourself, take a picture of it with your cell phone, and then let your child look at the picture and recreate it that way. You can even swap off and let your child build a structure that you will copy and take a picture of their creation too. So have fun building with these. Another activity with these blocks, of course, is making just towers. How tall can you build a tower? And just go for it. See how high you can get it before they fall. You can give a little challenge. How can you build a tower on top of the Play-Doh canister? Or how many letters can you balance on your structure? Now, that would be wiser to build it out this way, and they would be able to get more on. But give those open-ended challenges where there's no right or wrong answer. It's just an opportunity to explore what you can do and to really open up your thinking and be creative. Here's an activity that will work on patterning as well as some motor skills. So pick out any color of block that you want and talk about that block. And, you know, okay, this one is red. Think of something that's red. Oh, I know, a fire engine. What sound does a fire engine make? Woo, woo, woo. Okay, so now you've set up that red, if you see red, that means you say woo, woo, woo. Okay, well, what happens if we do this? Now point to the one that you want them to do. Woo, woo, woo. Stop. And now what do you do on this one? Woo, woo, woo. Good. Now we can expand on that. Say, okay, now we know what red is. Let's put yellow. And maybe you want to think of something yellow, or maybe you just want to assign a movement. Maybe you want to say, when you see yellow, clap your hands one time. Point to yellow, clap. What if we do it like this? Okay, now is where we're going to start to get tricky and test their memory. Put the red one back in. And before you do it, say, okay, do you remember what the red one means? What do we do when we see the red? Woo, woo, woo. Good. Now what about this one? Yes. What about this one? So now let's put them all together. Go faster. Woo, woo. And now add the fourth one in there. Here we go. Woo, woo. Woo, woo. And then you get some more in there. So you can keep adding. So this is working memory. It's working a pattern because we can go, we could actually change it this way because then it is more of a pattern. It's siren, clap, siren, clap. Maybe you want to have siren, clap, jump, siren, clap, jump. Or maybe you want to have siren, siren, clap, clap, jump, jump. And you can actually add even more gross motor movement instead of doing smaller things or sound effects. You can actually spread these quite far out along a table and you physically move your body so that you are in front of whichever cube you're pointing to. I'm working in a small space here for the purpose of the video screen, so I can't show you that one, but go ahead and give that a try. All right, and now it is time for some singing and some fun that way. Fun with language, fun with words, and fun with music. So there are quite a few songs that are about colors, or you can certainly add your own color words to just about any kid's song that you can think of. The first one that I've got down here is to the tune of Mary Had a Little Lamb, and it's basically just picking up on what colors your child is wearing or what colors you're wearing. So you're just gonna sing the tune. If you're wearing whatever color today, then do this. So if you're wearing green today, green today, green today. If you're wearing green today, touch your toes. And you can just go on and add any type of movement and any type of color. You can also go around looking at your house and you could say, if there's any red in here, red in here, red in here. If there's any red in here, tiptoe to the red. And then they will have to move to something in the room that is red. We also have this other song down here, which is to the tune of Hush Little Baby, which is just basically a two-line melody, so you could just add any words to it. And it is rainbow purple, rainbow blue, rainbow green and yellow too, rainbow orange, rainbow red, rainbow shining overhead. Come and count the colors with me. How many colors do you see? 1, 2, 3 on down to green. 4, 5, 6, 6 colors can be seen. Oh, and once again, I have them out of there. You can also make them into a rainbow shape. You can learn the sign language sign for rainbow, which just uses your 4 fingers with your thumbs tucked in, and then you just draw the shape of a rainbow right there, rainbow. You can also change the words and just have your child say the word for each color. So rainbow, and they would have to say purple, and rainbow green, rainbow blue, and so on and so on. As I said, you can look for different colors in your house. You can also go outside and do a scavenger hunt or a color walk outside and see how many colors you can find. You could take a paper out and some crayons and draw a little stick or something every time you see something of one color. Or you can even use a grid like this and say, if you see something red outside, color here, or even just do a little scribble. And then when you're finished with your walk, count up how many of the colors that you saw. Another fun thing to do with colors is to declare it a color day. So say today is red day and you wear as much red as you can and you point out everything red that you see, and you even try to have most of your foods that day only in that color. So maybe you would have a red apple in the morning, and maybe you would have red ketchup on your chicken nuggets. Let me see, maybe red beans for dinner, but they're not really red, but you get the idea. Declare it a color day and see how much of that color you could notice, you could wear, you could eat, how much of that color you can play with. Really go for it and make it a rainbowy kind of day. Have fun with all the colors. We will be back next month, the second Wednesday of the month, with our next preschool kit to go. Have fun, everybody.